Hi everyone, welcome to the class. In this session, we are going to discuss about answer writing for MPPSC 2019. Without wasting time, let's begin. So, in MPPSC till 2019 pattern, 3 types of questions are asked in first 4 papers. First one is your 3-marker question, then 6-marker question, then 15-marker question. The basic things first. The word limits are, for 3-marker it's 1 to 2 line, for 6-marker it's 100 words, approximately 1 page of your answer writing copies, 1 to 1.5 page, and the third one is 15-marker question that accounts up till 300 words, approximately 3 to 4 pages of your answer writing copy. Then the time limits. For 3-marker question, the maximum time that you can give is 1 minute to 1 minute 20 seconds. For 6-marker question, the time limit is 3 to 4 minutes. And simultaneously, for 15-marker question, the time limits are 10 to 12 minutes. If you can see in the pop-up on my side, you will be able to see that we multiplied the time limits with the total number of questions. The time required for writing 3-marker question will be 15 minutes to 20 minutes. For 6-marker it will be 30 to 40 minutes, and for 15-marker it will be 30 to 36 minutes if we calculate the lower sides and the upper sides of the time limits. The total comes around 1 hour 15 minutes to 1 hour 36 minutes, and approximately for solving one part we actually get 1.5 hours, and that is also being wasted by some of the other reasons, because due to some practical concerns such as the examiner will come, take your thumb impression signs, that will also take some time. Simultaneously, most of the centers for mains written exam are government schools, and we all know in India the situation in the government school, or the means I can say that the sitting arrangements and all those things are not that much comfortable as we practice at our home. So for achieving the paper, for attempting the paper in the particular time limits, you should be able to prepare. You should prepare for the lower sides of the time limits that we have given on your screen. That is 1 minute for 3-marker, 3 minutes for 6-marker, and 10 minutes for 15-marker question respectively. Now, next topic that we come on to is page management. In your answer writing copy, you will get approximately 32 pages, approximately not exactly 32 pages. And in 32 pages, we have to make optimum utilization of those 32 pages rather than just filling it up or leaving some pages. So, the page management, as we have calculated by our experience and with my personal touch with other MPPSC aspirants and those who have cleared MPPSC, what we have designed for our classes are that 1 page approximately you will write 3 markers. So for writing 15 3-markers you will require at least 5 pages. Then for writing 6-markers you have to write 10 6-markers actually. If you write 1 6-marker a page, you will require 10 pages as such. And for writing your 15-marker, if you require 3 pages for writing 1 15-marker, then you will require total 9 pages. But then too, we are left with approximately 5, then you can total 10, 15 and 9. So that comes around 15 and 9, 23 pages. Still we are left around with approximately 9 pages more. Right? So not 9 pages, I suppose 8 pages. So what we have designed here is, for making optimum utilization for gaining more marks, we have altered something in your 6-marker and 15-marker writing management, page management part. So what we will do is, we will practice writing some 6-markers that are factual or exact in pointers in 1 page, and some 6-marker is 1.5 page. That is your conclusion, and some part of the body will jump onto the next page. And as we know that in MPPSC, if we are going on to the next page, if you are even writing 1 or 2 lines on the next page, the whole page you should strike down and start afresh, means from a fresh page. New answer should be started from a fresh page. So if you write 5-6 markers on one page, it accounts to 5 pages, and another 5 if we account onto 1.5 pages, then it will count 10 pages. So total for writing 6 markers, you will require 15 pages as such. So till now the total page management that we have, 5 pages for 3 marker, 15 pages for 6 marker. So total is 20. Still we are left around with 12 pages. Equally divide those 12 pages into 3 15 markers, that is 4 page per 15 marker for each 15 marker, and that will come around your 12 pages. So total 32 pages. This is how we divide the total mathematics of 32 pages. Why we have done this is by evaluating our own copies from MPPSC that we have seen through RTIs, and also consulting with some of the selected candidates who are already deputy collector or on post of DC or DSP actually, and Janpad CO and other selected candidates. What we have gained from them, what we have the crux with us is, if we write a little more content, or if we can say presenting the same content in such a way that your answer looks beautiful, bulkier, and if you are able to add some more content into the answer, you will get more marks, that is for sure. So some 6 markers that we are writing on one page, that will fetch you around 3.5 marks, but the same if you are writing on 1.5 page with some better conclusion, better introduction and some presentation in the body, so half a mark you can gain more in the same portion of content. Just neatness, presentation skills are added, or some or 1 or 2 points are added in the content. So you will be able to fetch 1 or half a mark more. So your average marking will turn around 4 marks. Simultaneously in 15 marker also, the average marking for, if we write in 3 pages of 15 marker, so the average marking will come around 7, 8 or 9 approximately. But if we write the same content with better presentation, or we add up some content, some points in each headings of the 15 marker, you will be able to gain 1 mark per 15 marker more. So that whole scenario will change. That is, now your average marking will come around 9 to 10 marks, rather than from 7 to 8 it will turn around 9 to 10. So that is the basic crux that we have gained. Now moving on to our next session, that is on 3 markers, how to write 3 markers. Basically 3 markers are the most important part of your answer writing, because in each part 45 marks of 3 markers are asked, that is 15 3 markers, and the good thing is you can get 3 out of 3 in 3 markers. It is not possible in every 6 marks to fetch 6 out of 6, especially if it is not a mathematical problem. Nor at 15 marker you cannot get 15 out of 15 except mathematical questions. In past, people have gained in history or some geography types of portions also, but the success rate of getting 6 out of 6 and 15 out of 15 is very, very less. But in 3 marker question, it is very much easy to gain 3 out of 3 if you have good approach and good preparation and good content absolutely. So for writing 3 markers, the basics are, first thing is, there is no intro and no conclusion in 3 marker question. Second thing, preferably write in points. I would say preferably write in points. If not possible, then you can move on to paragraph. Okay. The third thing is, points should be comprehensive. That is, mingle up or merge 2 to 3 facts in a single point. That is what the 3 marker requires actually. The third thing is, try to include maximum number of dimension in the given word limit. Actually, when we were discussing about the word limit what I told was 1 to 2 line. What we interpret by 1 to 2 line in our scenario is 15 to 20 words. In 15 to 20 words, we have to include maximum number of dimension that you can include. Minimum, that is 3 dimension one should give, 1 for each mark, one dimension for fetching each mark. So at least 3 dimension you should give in 3 marker, but if possible you can include more dimension, but please make sure that you do not breach the word limit. The next thing is make use of presentation skills also. Presentation skills such as, if you can, do not write 1, 2, 3 always. You can make some figures, facts, figures that we will discuss in our 6 marker thing at last. Or you can make use of table to make your answer more comprehensive. The next thing is avoid grammar as much as you can, because in 3 marker question you will get marks of facts, not grammar actually. So include more facts rather than including grammar. That is, do not use I was, okay. Do not use the things like the Battle of Panipat was fought between, directly write Battle of Panipat, first Battle of Panipat, date, this date, fought between dash, okay, the result dash. That is how we write a 3 marker. Do not make full sentence, complete sentences. Only try to give more fact and limited number of words. That is the art of writing 3 marker. The most important thing that we have here is set points in preference. What basic mistakes the aspirants do is they do not set the points in preference in 3 marker. How I can explain it to you with the help of an example. If someone asks you what is corruption perception index, the first point should be what it is. Okay, the corruption perception index is an index based to measure the corruption published by Transparency International. Okay, but what students does is they mention the rank of India in the first point. It is not asked. First point should be what it is. So preference of point should be well decided beforehand, so that when you write, you give the points in that preference. Okay. It is the same thing. If someone asks who you are, you will not give your percentage, marks, 12th class, मैंने यहाँ से पढ़ा, ये से पढ़ा नहीं. You will tell, you will introduce with your name that I am such and such person, I am Amit Mandloi, whatever your name is. So the same thing you should follow while making your answers, while setting up your points in your answers. Okay. The next mistake that the student does in 3 marker question is they write the same dimension in different words. That is, Battle of Panipat, first Battle of Panipat was won by Babur. That is the first point they have written. The second point, in the second point they have written that in passive voice, Babur won the first Battle of Panipat. So it is some kind that we feel that we have given 2 points, we have given 2 dimensions, but actually we are elaborating the same point in the other point also. So what 3 dimension means is 3 distinct dimensions. Each point should carry its own value, its own meaning, and the next point should not elaborate the points written above. That is the meaning of 3 dimensions, what I have discussed in the above points. In the next slide, in the next pop-up, you can see some examples of 3 markers that I have given. The first one is Mohenjo-daro. If we are given a 3 marker to be written on Mohenjo-daro, what we will write? An Indus Valley civilization site located on the banks of river Indus, also called Mound of Dead. So what I have done in the first sentence is I have used some 10 words there, I suppose 10, 11 or 12 words, and I have tried and included more and more facts. I have included 3 things there. The most important word is Indus Valley civilization site. What people basically miss is this point. They directly write located on the banks of river Indus. But भैया ये तो बताओ कि क्या है? What it actually is. Most of the aspirants do such type of silly mistakes. Actually you know, but what we feel is that examiner को पता ही होगा कि Indus Valley civilization की site है. That should not be prejudiced. You should always write answer as such. You are explaining a layman. The layman should understand that answer. So you will have to write an Indus Valley civilization site located on the banks of river Indus, also known as Mount of Dead. I have included 3 facts on the same point. The second I have written excavated by R.D. Banerjee in 1922. 2 points again, and 2 facts again included in the second point. The third, major findings can be great bath, great granary, other seals from Persian, Mesopotamian civilization that we have recovered from excavation. Anything you can mention in major findings. So this is how I have written a 3 marker on Mohenjo-daro. Might be exceeding the word limits, 20, 22 words, But I have made sure that no examiner could cut even a half a marks here, because I have given her more than 3 dimensions. I have given 6, 7 dimensions here, and most important thing, I have given the most important dimension the examiner might be looking for. The next 3 marker that I have given here is causes of corruption. See, this question can be asked in 4 different papers actually. It can be asked in ethics. Ethics में आपके पास पूरा एक unit है corruption के ऊपर. Second, it can be asked in your paper 2 part A, paper 2 part B, social issues also, and economics also. So these are the 4 papers when causes of corruption can be asked. So approach and preference of the point will differ if we write in either of the paper. If we write in ethics, the first preference should be given to ethical and social points. If we are writing social issues, the first preference should be given to points such as which are related to the society. If we are writing in politics, yeah, paper 2 part A, then we should give preference to the points related to polity or constitution, legal points I suppose. And if you are writing in economics, you should give preference to economical points. But in any of the paper if you are writing, you should not be giving single dimensional points. That is, you should not be given all the points from political dimensions, all the points from legal dimension. You should try and include every aspect of the causes of corruption. That is, in this answer, if you see, first point I have written from politics, that is criminalization of politics. The second I have taken from ethics, that is degradation of moral values, that is honesty, integrity. The third point I have given from social muteness, that is again from social issues or society point. The fourth I have given a legal perspective, that is legal loopholes. The fifth point I have addressed is lack of independent autonomous bodies. The basic thing why I have chosen this answer as an example, this question as an example to explain to you. First thing is, we have given dimensions and dimensions from separate streams, separate subjects, okay, different subjects. First one from polity, economics, every dimension we have tried to cover. The second, if you can see, on the left side I have first given numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Either while presenting the points in 3 marker, you can use numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Either you can do this, either you can make a pointer chart, that as I have made here, a half semicircle, half circle or arc and arrows from it to represent the points. Make sure if you are using any such kinds of presentation skills, make sure that you are presenting it very neat and clean, because why we are using presentation skills is to make our paper neat and attractive, so that the examiner gets attracted and he highlights the points. In the first 3 marker, if you look, Mohenjo-daro, I have underlined few things. Why I have underlined those things is because I am trying to highlight some things, that is River Indus, R.D. Banerjee. So while writing writing answers in your copy, you also have to have the same practice to be continued, that underline, highlight important key points in your answer, so that it is very simplified for the examiner, that he should not be reading around here and there. He will directly focus on the points that are underlined or highlighted, or it will make sure that the important points are not overlooked by the examiner in a hurry. That is the main reason why we underline the points. The third 3 marker what I have chosen for as an example is Battle of Panipat. Okay, if we write Battle of Panipat, first question should strike in our mind, which Battle of Panipat? First battle, second battle, third battle. Okay. If it is simple Battle of Panipat, you have to address all the 3 battles of Panipat. And it is a bulkier task as such to address all the 3 points, because when I was discussing the 3 marker, I told you have to write fought between, date and result, right? But for the 3, again and again we will make the heading. No, we will use simple tabular representation to save some words. As you can see, what we can do is, on the column side we can address battles first, second, third. On the first row we can address date, second row we can address fought between, third row we can address result. If possible and you have good writing speed, then you can include cause or impact also, as a security measure that no one can get more marks than this. One more 3 marker I will discuss, that is IMR, social issues. Okay. What is IMR of MP? IMR of MP is a 3-marker that has already been asked in social issues in previous year's questions. So if you are getting such type of 3 markers, what you will do? First option is you can directly write IMR of MP. That is a factual figure, maybe 43, 33, 47, whatever is the data available with you. But the more interesting part, the more better part would be, while addressing such type of question that IMR of MP, you can first write the IMR, second line you can IMR of MP as a factual data. Also in bracket you definitely should authenticate your answer by giving the source of the information. May it be census, may it be sample registration survey, may it be Niti Aayog's report. So whatever report from which you are giving the data, you should mention in the bracket to authenticate your data there. Second, in the second point, you should write the definition of IMR. In the third point, you should mention the formula, and if possible, mention IMR of India as well. Underline and highlight IMR of MP because that was the question. But to save marks, save your marks to be deducted, you can mention those 2-3 points also. Already we have the word limit, 20 words available with us. So make use, optimum utilization of those words available with you, the word limit available with you. Why I'm telling this way is because suppose that an examiner is given a bundle of 10 copies and your copy comes on the 4th number or 5th number, suppose. Hope so that all the 4 guys above you whose copies are lying above you have written only IMR of MP, right? If they have written only IMR of MP, that is the factual data 47 according to Niti Aayog report, then the examiner would be having the same perspective. He will be giving a 3 marker to all those 4 and will give a 3 marker to you too if you write the same point. But फर्ज करो कि अगर आपकी कॉपी के ऊपर 2 या 3 जनों ने इस तरीके का आंसर लिखा, जैसे मैंने अभी थोड़ी देर पहले बताया कि IMR of MP लिखा, डेफिनेशन लिखा, फॉर्मूला लिखा, IMR of India भी उसमें इंक्लूड किया है, then there will be a perception mindset in the examiner's mind that if the above 2-3 people are giving the same type of answer and they're including more points, he would be expecting more in your copy. If he is expecting more in your copy, he will detect 1 mark from your copy and you will lose 1 mark. Okay. So on a safer side, what we should do is we should always write in all those dimensions that we have discussed in IMR of MP. Such type of cases happens because it is basic human psychology. If you are at the place of an examiner and you are checking copies in the bundle, so you will also do the same type of steps with the students. We cannot blame anyone, and neither I am blaming anyone, any of the checkers of the MPPSC, but this type of psychological things can happen. So being on the safer side, you should write all the 3 dimensions. The next thing we will discuss is about 6-marker question. What to write, what not to write in 6-marker question. So basically, what you can see in the pop-up, a 6-marker question have 3 things and the basic structure. First is introduction, second part is body, and the third part is conclusion. Introduction of a 6-marker question should be 2 to 3 lines. Body should be minimum 6 points, maximum how much you can include in the given word limit. 6 points you should give, and preferably you should give in points only. If it is a countable question that give the characteristics of countable questions, such as give the causes behind. So such type of question should be addressed in points. But if it is an analytical question, describe. If it is an analytical question such as analyze, which is a non-countable question, then what you should do is you can use paragraphs even rather than using points. So both the way you can tackle the body, but depending upon the nature of the question, you should decide whether you should write in points or whether you should write in paragraphs. And that comes only when you write more and more questions. You will be able to judge that which question is best to be written in paragraph and which is best to be written in points. The third and the final part is conclusion. These 3 parts should be there in a 6-marker question. Why I am saying that? Because it is a basic structure, and this basic structure we have been learning from past our whole schooling and graduation life, that this is how a structure of an answer is. So the same thing is being feeded with those in the brains of those who are checking our copies. So this basic structure should be followed while writing a 6-marker question. What student does while writing an introduction is, he just writes an introduction for the sake of writing. But if we have a strong introduction, the introduction should be such that if this examiner reads the introduction, then he should be curious about reading the body, and simultaneously he should get the same type of impulsive content in the body as well, and then a conclusion which concludes the whole impulsive matter that we have given above, to make a good impression on the examiner. So what we have to do here is, for starting the introduction there can be several techniques. What techniques that we can use? We can use basic introduction such as we can define something, right? If it is given that explain Newton's law of motion, so you can define Newton's law of motion. What is law of motion? You can give basic definition, you can start with. Okay. The second thing what we can start with is current based approach. How we can start with the current based approach? First करो एक question पूछा है, what are the causes of malnutrition in India? And you will start with the Niti Aayog's report, that according to Niti Aayog report, in India 52% of population is suffering from malnutrition. What are the causes behind it? So this type of introduction can also be made, rather than simply defining malnutrition in the first paragraph and then giving the causes. So you can make current based approach for writing introduction. What current based approach means is, you can include data in your question. Current based data, you can make use of reports of Niti Aayog, IMF, World Bank, any such authentic reports that is available in newspapers. The next type of introduction that we can give is philosophical questions, philosophical introductions. Philosophical introductions like famous quotations, right? If a question, मान लो अगर ऐसा कुछ question आया regarding rural development, so you can start with the quotation of Mahatma Gandhi, that path of rural development passes through villages, या path of development of India passes through the villages. So such type of philosophical quote based question introduction can also be prepared. Next type of question you can, next type of introduction that you can have is cause and effect based. What cause and effect based is, I will try and explain you, take an example of history, right? If a question comes in exam, it has already been coming here, it is already a probable question, and already it has been asked in past also, that describe the market reforms made by Alauddin Khilji. So what you should start with, that what was the cause behind such type of market policy. So you can mention some historian's name, like according to this historian, according to Al-Baruni, according to Ziauddin Barni, any such historian, if you know what he have commented. So you can write that the main cause behind such type of market policy was to maintain a large army, so that he can conquer the whole world, as he has taken the title of second Alexander or Sikandar Isani. So to achieve that title, to achieve his goal, he wanted a large army, and for taking that large army, he had designed his market policy such that he can maintain the large army with less amount of cash. So that was the main cause behind, main reason why he has structured his market policy as such. So that cause-based introduction, so you can make use of the cause of the policy as an introduction. The whole market reforms will come in the body part, that he has appointed some officials, he has divided the market into 3, all those things, he has used the espionage system, all those points will come inside the body, and again in the conclusion you will write effects. What were the effects? Effects were people were leading happy life, right? There were no civil wars, there were no wars inside the territory of Alauddin, and he was able to maintain a large army through which he was able to conquer states like Chittor, the other states also, Devgiri, all these states he was able to conquer. So this is how we can make use of cause-effect relationship. Cause will be given in introduction, effect will be given in conclusion. This way also we can design the introduction and conclusion part. Now discussing on the body. How the body should be, as I have already told, it can be in points, it can be in paragraphs. If you are writing in points, make sure that you write minimum 6 points, because we are writing a 6-mark question, so it is a basic psychology. If you give 6 points, chances of getting more marks are more. If possible, you can include more points and you have important points, not vague points. You have important points, strictly stick to the subject. So you can include those points as well, as much as you can within the given word limit. The third thing in the body part is, if you're writing body in paragraphs, make sure that you do not write paragraphs, bulky paragraphs of 7, 8 lines, because there is no chance of writing such long paragraphs, because the word limit doesn't allow this. So the maximum length of the paragraph should be 3 lines maximum. Okay, so after 3 lines you should change the paragraph. 3.5 lines you should change the paragraph. And what a paragraph means, basically जब भी मैं बोलता हूँ students को, aspirants को कि change the paragraph, what that does is, अरे 3.5 लाइन हो गई, 3 लाइन हो गई, paragraph change कर देते हैं. That doesn't mean paragraph change. Actually, one paragraph in English means one point is finished. One point that we are trying to convey is finished. Next paragraph we will address some other dimension, other part, other point. So that should be followed, that in the same point should not be elaborated in the other point also. So that thing should be followed. In body, what more we can include to make it more attractive is, you can make use of data representation skills such as pie charts, bar charts, graphs, etc. that we will discuss in detail in the next part. The third thing we can do in the to make the 6-marker attractive in the body part, we can use flow charts. The next thing to make it attractive, what we can do is points representation. What is points representation? Rather than writing 1, 2, 3 always, you can make use of several geometric boxes or any such a presentation skills to make your answer, your points attractive. That what we can do. Moving on to the next part, that is conclusion. Conclusion, again the word limit should be 3 lines. Okay, 3.5 lines is more than sufficient for writing a conclusion. How conclusion can be framed? Conclusions are of different types. Conclusion can be summaristic. Summaristic means the summary of the whole data that you have given in the body and introduction. You can conclude it with the summary, giving the main point summary in the conclusion. Next type of conclusion can be futuristic. Futuristic means what in future will take place because of these things. So futuristic conclusion can be given. What in future should be taken, what steps should be taken in the future, what effect will these policies will be giving in future. Such type of futuristic conclusion can be framed. Next is, we can end with government taglines. Government taglines like Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, inclusive developments. We should use some comprehensive and some words that the PRO या public relation websites में जो वर्ड्स यूज होते हैं, जो टैगलाइंस यूज होती हैं, उन टैगलाइंस का उपयोग कर सकते हैं, हम उनका यूज कर सकते हैं टू मेक आवर कंक्लूजन मोर इंपल्सिव एंड इम्पैक्टफुल. लाइक सबका साथ सबका विकास, इंक्लूसिव डेवलपमेंट, राइट, हेल्दी इंडिया, बेटर इंडिया, हेल्दी इंडिया. These type of taglines can be used. बड़े भारत types of taglines can be used in conclusion. That doesn't mean you have to write the tagline alone. You have to imbibe that tagline in your conclusion some or the other way. Right? So these type of conclusion can be framed. We will discuss in our answer writing lectures that if we are going to take these type of introduction conclusion, we'll discuss in the future classes that we are going to take. The next is, you can end with sarcasm. Sarcasm means if you are given a question like critically evaluate, you can start or end that type of question with in a sarcastic way. Sarcastic way, what I mean to say is, while becoming a civil servant, you should have the etiquette that you do not directly oppose the government, because you are also becoming the part of the system and you have to also have to work with the same system. So you cannot oppose or stand in opposition of the system. So if we have, then too we have to make a critic. Then how can we make that critic is in a sarcasm way, that we have made a criticism as well, and the people, the whole message is also conveyed in a negative way, in a negative point is addressed, but in a positive way. That is the main idea behind the sarcasm type of conclusion. Like, for example, how we can end is, if a question comes in health, right? So, any question, we can write the conclusion as such that if ₹1 is spent now on health services, then it will return as ₹16 to the whole economy, because you will get better human capital as such. So it is not only a moral responsibility of the government to take care of the health of the people, but it is also an economic responsibility of the government to take care of the health of the people. So this is how you can end in a sarcastic way. So you have already conveyed your message that government is spending less on health, and you have also given a reason why government should spend more on health. So this is how you can make conclusion in sarcasm. Next is philosophical conclusion. Philosophical conclusion, as I have discussed that introduction by quotes, so you can end by quotes even. Like, if I am facing a question, I am writing a question on women empowerment, so I can end up with a quote of Vivekananda. There is a famous quote of Vivekananda. Swami Vivekananda told once that, like a bird cannot fly with one wing, the world cannot prosper with the development of only one gender. So both male and female should be empowered for a glorious world or a prosperous world. So such type of quotes can be used by famous personalities, or if you have your own quotes, you can use those quotes as well. But preferably you can quote the name of the famous personality and his quote, but make sure that it is relevant with the whole topic. So in women empowerment, we can give such type of conclusions that I have given. So whatever the question may be, but you have to write the conclusion according to the demand of the question. So that's how we write a 6 marker. The next important thing that we should remember while writing a 6 marker is underline few words, right? Few words, what I mean by few words is those words which you feel that should not be overlooked by the examiner as such. Why? Because your copies are not checked horizontally, they are checked vertically. And when the copies are checked vertically, you have to make sure that the examiner do not overlook the points that you are trying to address, right? If you want that the examiner do not overlook the important point, you should highlight those points. You should make use of presentation skills that your data, your points are more visible, so that the examiner do not skip such points. Because might be, I'm not blaming anyone, or I'm not blaming the examiners, with due respect to them, that they are also working hard in our whole selection process. But by some mistake, if the examiner overlooks the whole point, then it is no point that you can fetch good marks. So make sure that you have good handwriting and you highlight those points which are important, so that making it sure that it is not overlooked by the examiner. The next mod we move on to is 15 marker. As we have discussed in the word limit, the 15 marker should be written between 3 to 4 pages. According to us, it should be in 4 pages, making good use of presentation skills. Most of the students, when I say presentation, they again and again ask how much presentations we should use in 15 marker, how much in 6 marker. So what we used to say, we prefer is, in 1 6 marker, you can use 1 pie chart, 2 pie charts, 1 diagram as such. In 15 marker question, you can use 2 of them, 2 pie charts, 2 graphs, right? 2 diagrams, 2-3 presentations. So this is how you can manage. Means 1 presentation a page, and your copy should not be monotonous. Monotonous, what I mean by monotonous is, you should not use the same presentation skills in each and every question. You should break the monotony, right? Even if you are writing points also, in one question you can address 1, 2, 3. In the second you can make a half arc and you can make arrows, right? In the third, you can make a circle and give points all around the circle. Such type of innovations you should use so that you are not presenting an answer in a monotonous way, right? So these skills should be used in writing a 6 marker, 15 marker even. So while writing a 15 marker, the basic structure is same as 6 marker: introduction, body and conclusion. Introduction is again 5 to 6 lines here because it is a 300 words question. So you can extend your introduction to 5-6 lines. Make good introduction, so because the introduction defines the whole path that you have written in the body. Second point is body. Again, introduction part is written in the same techniques as we have discussed in 6 marker. The same introduction can be basic, definition based, description based. The introduction can be current based. The introduction can be philosophical, cause effect. These type of introduction can be written in 15 marker as well. Second point is body. The body of the answer like 15 marker will be around 3 pages. 2.5, 3 pages. So basically the types of question that has been asked in MPPSC so far, already the question is broken into 2 to 3 different topics, subheadings. For example, in past a question on malnutrition has been asked: what are the causes, status and effects of the government steps taken by the government for malnutrition. So already the topic had been divided to 3-4 topics, 3-4 subheadings such as causes, status, what are the effects and what are the government steps taken for curing malnutrition. So already the topic is divided into 4 points. So what you have to do, you have to address each dimension in separate headings. Causes, give causes in points, okay. Then status, give status in pie charts, in graphs, that this from the adult population, from child population, and women, what is the percentage of anemia and malnutrition. This is how you can give present in pie charts, graphs. The status is always a numerical data. The numerical data should be represented in good form. Why I am telling numerical data should be presented in good form? Because first thing, you dig up those data, you memorize those data from various sources, and then too, if it is overlooked by the examiner, because if you write it in paragraph, just underline it, there are chances that while reading your question, the examiner overlooks that data. So what you should do is present it in a pie chart, right? How pie chart should be made, we will discuss in the next few minutes. You can present it in graph, bar chart, so that it is not overlooked by the examiner. The next you will address the effects of malnutrition, and next government scheme. Government schemes again can be divided into 2 or 3, right? For 2 steps, basically India, Government of India and Government of MP, and the scheme should be written, and then conclusion. Conclusion again, as we have discussed in 6 marker, summaristic, futuristic, such type of conclusion can be made. What important thing is, if the question that is given is not divided into topics, what you should do? You should first structure it. Why I am saying structure it? That you should divide the whole topic into number of subtopics. Like if you are given a question like write a short note on, give a description of the problem of malnutrition in India. Such type of question is given. So you will divide the same topics. Right. The main thing is you should divide a big question into numerous topics so that it is easier to recall points even. So, and it is easier in a good approach. It is easier to write the whole question, because if we do not divide it into subheadings, most of the times what we do is we will end up the 15 marker in 2.5 pages because we are lacking content. If we divide it into multiple topic subheadings, then under each subheading we will have some of the other point, and we will be able to stretch that answer till 3.5 pages or 4 pages that we are supposed to do to get good marks. We can increase the content actually. So what I would say is, you should break a 15 marker into multiple dimensions, multiple subheadings, and then write the answer. Right? Whether it is asked in the question or not, but if it is relevant to the question, then you should break it and then you should write the answer. If it is not asked, then you should not do. When it is not relevant, then it is it should not be done. And if you have the content in the single heading, then you should proceed with the single heading itself. But preferably you should make different headings, subheadings, and you can get good marks out of this. Now moving on to the next session, that is what presentation skills means. First thing we will come up on is data presentation skills. Okay, numeric data presentation skills. Like in exam, questions are asked in economics and social issues. These type of paper carry questions such as status. Give the status, right? So where we have to give numerical data, where we have to give current trends and challenges of the economy, you have to give data there. For representing those numerical data, what we actually do is we write the data, underline it, right? But there are chances that the data written in the whole page and the small data in the whole page can be missed out, right? So what we should do, we should make use of pie charts, right? As you can see in the pop-up, pie chart. You can use 5 to 6 lines, 4 lines in small question, 6 marker question, 5 to 6 lines for making a pie chart and 15 marker question. You can make 2 pie charts simultaneously, one on the left side, one on the right side, to present 2 data if you have. You can make a pie chart and a graph simultaneously. Important to make a pie chart is, first make a pie chart and give the subheading there, the what that pie chart represents, right? Same with the graph. Make the graph with proper scales. Scaling should be proper, and how that scaling will come? That scaling will come when you practice more and more, and that graph should also carry a subheading, a heading below it, that what that graph represents. You can make use of line charts, you can make use of bar charts, as you can see in the pop-up, for representation of numeric data, rather than writing a data that can be overlooked by the examiner if it is hidden inside the paragraph. So you should explicitly present it so that it is highlighted in the copy and your answer also looks attractive by these types of representation. The next what we'll address here is flowcharts. What basically I mean by flowchart is not those circles and 4 points given around it, not a triangle and 3 points given around. That is not a flowchart actually. Flowchart means which carry a flow. Where we can use such type of flowchart? Actually, if you can describe any process in a flowchart. As in 10th, 9th, 10th, we used to make computer flowcharts. If you remember, simultaneously you can describe any process in flowchart. You can describe the process of development of anything, right? Process of development of banking sector, history of banking sector in India in a flowchart, right? Historic questions can be addressed in flowchart. Year, what happened, year, what happened, year, what happened, and arrows between those boxes, right? Simultaneously, I have given an example for your reference, process of impeachment of president, right? So process of impeachment of president, how we can represent? We can represent that for impeachment of a president, a resolution has to be brought. Resolution can either come in Lok Sabha, either come in Rajya Sabha, right? If it comes in Lok Sabha or either in Rajya Sabha, 1/4 members of the houses should sign it and hand it over to the respective chair. Either the speaker, either the chairperson. If it is in Rajya Sabha, chairperson. If it is in Lok Sabha, it's speaker of the Lok Sabha. Speaker or the chairperson have to give a 14 days prior notice before starting the discussion on it to the president, right? After the expiry of the 14 days period, discussion will take place. During discussion, if the Lok Sabha or either house finds the charges as suitable, and if they pass the resolution by 2/3 majority, there is a special majority for impeachment, 2/3 of the total strength, then the resolution moves on to the second house. If it was initiated in Lok Sabha, it will move to Rajya Sabha. It was initiated in Rajya Sabha, it will move on to Lok Sabha, right? And the other house will have the proceedings, and so on. The flowchart continues, right? So if you notice, if you write this impeachment of president in points or in paragraphs, that particular whole topic would have been a chaos type of situation, but a zigzag. You will not be able to convey the direct points, and simultaneously it will take more words. If you break the whole process into flowchart, then it will take less time, less words, and it will look attractive even. You can make introduction with the help of article. That Article 61 of Indian Constitution defines the process of impeachment, and the president can be impeached on 2 grounds. Right? You can give the grounds as well as the article number 61 in introduction. You can make the whole flowchart in the page, and the second on the second side of the page, or on the second page, you can write the conclusion that the process of impeachment has never been carried out, and impeachment of president has never been carried out successfully in the history of Indian Parliament or Indian Constitution, but the impeachment process provides a check and balance between the authorities of the executive as well as the legislative. So such type of conclusion can be made, constructive conclusion, and this can be the whole answer. This type of flowchart can be used in several number of questions, such as making of rocks, how rocks are made. You can have a rock cycle there, flowchart again, a circular flowchart though, right? You can make use of such flowcharts for describing the process of money bill. You can make use of such types of flowchart, how a bill is converted to act, or how laws are made by the parliament, right? These type of flowcharts can be used. You can use flowcharts in history. In history, if you are given the process of writing what is the history of the constitution, then you can mention what all steps have been taken place with year, what changes have been made. So these type of flowcharts can be used there. These are sensible flowcharts that I call. Next, what you can use is circular flowcharts. What do we mean by circular flowcharts? As you can see, you can convey your message through circular flowcharts, right? If some question has been asked, what is the importance of RTI and whistleblower acts? So I've made a simple schematic diagram for you. RTI acts and whistleblower acts empower the citizen, and this empowered citizen brings in transparency in the system. If the system is transparent, the public servants will be more accountable. If the public servants are more accountable, then it will enhance people's participation inside the democracy, and it will actually strengthen the democracy. If the democracy is strengthened, the strength of the democracy is more, then the representatives elected will be good, right? If the representatives elected are good, then such type of acts like RTI and whistleblower act would empower the citizen will be passed in more numbers, right? So this is how a circular flow diagram can be made, and these type of circular flow diagrams can be made in any type of topics. But the thing is, you have to learn and you have to practice more and more where to make such type of flow charts or such type of circular flow diagrams. You can use equations even. In the next pop-up you can see the next part, that equation such as humidity is equal to air plus moisture, right? So that equation is given, you can make a box and mention that equation there. Second type of equation, second example of an equation I have given from ethics portion, that is corruption. Corruption equal to monopoly plus discretion minus accountability. If a public servant have a monopoly of something, or anybody if it is having a monopoly of some decision and he is able to take the decision with his own discretion, he do not have to follow up someone else, and if it is not, he is not accountable to anybody, then it is liable that corruption will take place. So such type of things, equations you can use to make your answer more attractive. Simultaneously, motivation, right? Motivation, what it is? Inspiration can be a motivation, intrinsic motivation, extrinsic motivation. So both the factors, motivation equal to intrinsic plus extrinsic motivation. Such type of equations you can make so that answer is divided into multiple topics, and simultaneously you can make your answer and understanding clear to the examiner that you can divide any topics into multiple types of equations. So this can also be used, imbibed in your answer writing. What next we can do? What next we can have? Use small frameworks. What I mean by framework, as you can see in the pop-up, I have given 2 examples of the 2 frameworks. First one is 4A framework. What is this 4A framework? Availability, accessibility, affordability and awareness. How I can use it? Like in social issues, if I am given what are the major causes behind malnutrition in India, I can simply use that 4A framework there to address more points in small space. What is it? Lack of availability of good food, lack of accessibility to good food, right? Lack of affordability of food, nutrients, and lack of awareness, nutrient awareness. So this 4A framework is fit there. Simultaneously, I can use it in food security. Simultaneously, I can use it in other perspectives as even education even. Why education of India is so low? Education status is so low because education infrastructure is not available. If it is available, it is not accessible. If it is accessible, it is not affordable. If it is affordable, then people are not aware even. So such type of frameworks, small frameworks can be directly imbibed in your answers to make them attractive and simultaneously represent more points in less amount of space, and that looks good even. Next what example I have given is 3C. What is this 3C stands for? Corruption, crony capitalism, criminalization of politics. How can I use it? What are the problems? What are the challenges that Indian economy is still facing? This is the challenge, right? So what are the negatives in Indian political system? This is the negatives in Indian political system. So this is how you can use such small frameworks in your answers so that it looks attractive even and it will comprehend the whole answer. What next we have? What next we have is some data representation skills. What is this? The points representation skills. What I mean by is as you can look in the pop-up, you can represent points in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You can represent it pointers, but make sure these pointers are to make your answer attractive. It is not that you should make lame pointers. What people do is when they are making their notes, they make beautiful pointers, but when they are writing answers in hurry, we cannot even identify if it is a pointer, it is a number, or they have just given a dot there. So such type of pointers should not be made. Either write numbers, or if you are making pointers, then the pointer should look like a pointer. It should be neat and clean so that it makes your answer attractive rather than deteriorating the quality even, right? Third is you can make a half arc and you can draw arrows around it. You can turn the arc upside down and make arrows. So you can make a circle and represent points. You can make a square, geometric shapes you can use, right? If you have to give points on both sides of the paper, so in the favor, against the favor, you can use the last two diagrams available there. So such type of innovative diagrams you can make to present your points in the answer to make it more attractive. So to break the monotony of the points in your paper, in your answer paper, answer sheet. Next, what we have, wherever needed to make your answer more attractive, better representation, you should use maps of India, maps of MP, and maps of world even, if you are able to make sure in geography, in every question, if there is a demand, then do not hesitate to make map, right? You should be able to make map of MP and India in seconds, not in minutes. If you are able to make map of India in 10 to 12 seconds and map of MP in 15 seconds, then only you can imagine of using these maps in your answer, because maps alone will not suffice. What you have to do is you will have to give data also. So you should have good speed so that you can make the map as well as give data, your points also in the answer, and this can be made possible only if you have good writing speed and good map drawing skills, right? Map should not be exact that वो बिल्कुल POK का line एकदम zigzag वहीं पे आना चाहिए 1 किलोमीटर इधर उधर नहीं. It should be a representative figure. That means map should look like it is India. A map should look like you have drawn a map of MP. It should not be like कि आपने MP का मैप बनाया जूते के जैसा दिखा. ऐसा नहीं दिखना चाहिए, right? मतलब it should look like map of MP. It should not be exact and it should not be like जूता जैसा बना दिया कुछ भी. So it should not be like that. Representative map रहे चलेगा. If you can practice world map, though it is not required frequently in MPPSC, UPSC में ज़्यादा required रहता है world map. लेकिन फिर भी अगर आप बना सकें, if you can make world map in seconds, then you can use. So where you can use it? whenever you are asked a question such as describe the distribution of volcanoes and earthquake in the world, then you can make use of such maps, that you can make the world map and you can show the mid-continental belt, the Pacific ring belt, right, the Great Ridge area of Africa in the world map. So, but rarely asked questions are there on the world map. So if you can make a world map. If you are not able to, then it is not a much thing of worry. The next thing is you should also focus on schematic diagrams of geography and science. What I mean by schematic diagrams, such as if you are asked that what are the various landforms made by volcanic eruptions, then you should know what are the various landforms made by volcanic eruptions, and you should be able to make the diagrams. If you are asked what are the intrinsic landforms of the volcano, then you should be able to make sill, dike and bath area. All those things you should be able to represent in a diagram. These are schematic diagrams, basic diagrams, right? So these types of diagrams are in geography, in science, right? These diagrams you should be able to draw. That also should be imbibed in your answer writing whenever required according to demand of the question. Next is logical equations, and the most important and priority thing that you should always focus on is handwriting. Handwriting also makes a difference. If it should be readable, it should not be that it should मोतियों के जैसा लिखा हुआ ऐसा बिल्कुल नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन handwriting should be such that it is easily readable by the examiner. If you can practice and make good handwriting, then it is always beneficial. It should always represent your personality as well. Finally, we end up with the whole answer writing lecture. I hope during the whole lecture you have learned how you have to write the answers. Finally, I want to say one thing. If you are attempting MPPSC, then your answer should look like a film made by Sanjay Leela Bhansali. What I mean by saying this is, script में दम हो या ना हो, लेकिन the stage, the whole scenario, the whole location should look like भव्यता के जैसा बिल्कुल. If you see the sets of the film of Sanjay Leela Bhansali, you will see the whole भव्यता types of scenario film से. भले script हो या ना हो, लेकिन it should look beautiful. So this is what the MPPSC demands at present. God knows what changes takes place in 2020 as the curriculum has changed. But in 2019, as the past previous experience I can share, such type of answer should be made. So that's all in this answer writing class as such. I hope the video was helpful for you. In the next coming of classes, we are planning to take answer writing classes subject wise. So you should, if you actually require any subject related expert writing, then we will discuss the related aspects in subjects, because the answer writing approach changes subject to subject. A brief description of the answer writing with each subject, the video will be uploaded soon. You can subscribe for more details on the YouTube channel, and in future classes and future lectures, future videos, you can also see answer writing lectures every day. What will be the module of the answer writing, we will discuss in the next lecture. Thanks. Thank you.